Hello and welcome to this section of the TI-89 calculator tutor. In this section we're going to sort of extend what we were doing in the last section. In this section we're going to be converting between rectangular coordinates, cylindrical coordinates, and spherical coordinates. And so the deal to remember here is really it's just an extension of what we learned in the last section. So in two dimensions you have rectangular coordinate xy, right, xy plane, and we convert that to a distance from the origin r and an angle. That's the angle from the x-axis. So it's still two numbers to represent something in a two-dimensional plane, but it's just two different numbers. One of them is xy, the other one is r comma theta. Right? Now when you go to three dimensions, in a rectangular system, you have x, y, and z, right? So you have x, y, and then z would be sort of coming out of the plane of the calculator, right? The vertical dimension, so to speak. So that would be able to let you to plot something in three-dimensional space. You can also represent that same point in 3D space in a cylindrical system, which is a distance r comma theta, and then a variable z, which would be the vertical dimension. So it's r theta z. And in spherical notation, you would have a distance from the origin rho, and then you would have an angle theta and an angle phi. Now, believe me, this lesson, if I were teaching it from the point of view of you having no idea what spherical system is, I'd be drawing a lot of pictures, I'd be showing you what rho is, I'd be showing you what theta and phi is. But when I'm doing these calculator tutors, I'm basically assuming that you're in a math class, you're learning about these different systems from your teacher or maybe from my DVDs that are teaching you what these different coordinate systems are. The purpose of this calculator is more geared towards teaching you how to do the operations on the calculator. So if you're not sure what a spherical system is, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you're not sure what a cylindrical system is, then that's really not addressed as far as teaching you everything about what the system is. It's not really supposed to be addressed in this lesson here. But we will teach you how to do the conversions. So let's go ahead and do that. It's quite easy actually, because if you open a bracket here, remember every coordinate that you type in has to be between these brackets. If you put a number like 1, 2, 3 and then close the brackets, see before we only had two numbers, and so the calculator interpreted that as x comma y. When you put a third number, then the calculator is going to interpret that as x comma y comma z. So it's going to interpret this in a rectangular sense. We didn't put any angles down here. We didn't put any angle symbols. So it's not going to interpret it as a spherical or a cylindrical system because those guys have the angles. When you just have three numbers with comma between the brackets, it's going to assume that you mean x, y, z. Now, notice that we are in radian mode, so much like last time when we do the conversions to either of these new systems, it's going to give